We're back with another battle report. This is our battlefield for today. We're playing the No Man's Land mission. So we have one objective in the center and then one objective off to the side. And we're going to be fighting for control of those three. And I'm joined by Jeff again, who's graciously letting us do another battle report today. So we got our Mechanicum and Solar Auxilia are going to face off. And we'll go through those armies in a minute. Jeff, any thoughts about the mission?
Bare bones, simple base mission. We're not using secondaries in this game, so.
And we are going to alternate detachment deploying for formation instead of doing it by formation, just because the armies are so small. So that's going to be kind of an experiment for us today. So we'll go through the armies here in a minute, and we'll check in with you after that. This is Jeff's 1,000 points of Solar Auxilia. It's a little bit. I don't think you've ever played the Solar Auxilia on a battle report before, right, Jeff?
I think it might, maybe.
Maybe in a while
maybe
ago.
One.
Yeah.
Might have been one.
But anyway, yeah. Let's see what you got here.
Legate with the Velitari for Basilisk for my one of my tank units. 6 Lehman Russes. The Sentinels, what they call them?
Ethon
Sentinels. 2 Dracosins with the Solar Auxilia, 4 Las rifles, and 4 flamers. Something new that I haven't seen too many people do is I'll be running the Ogrins in the flyer. God, I can't remember this flyer.
The Arvis.
Arvis fighter. I have 2 of those, and then I have 1 little 4-man detachment of Las Gun Tertio.
Great.
And that's my 996 points.
Great. Would you mind telling us a little bit about your plan with this army, what the intention is?
Well, I mean, these guys obviously are going to be in the flyers. They're going to come in off the table, drop down into hover, and secure objectives. These guys get forward deploy. They got a little fire support. Sometimes my plan is, if someone has infiltrators or whatever, is to guard my Basilisk with my Velitari, but they may be going forward in this game. And these guys are just for grabbing some kind of objective, so a little backup.
Okay, great.
Pretty
Thank
simple, you. Simple tactics.
Yeah, it's nice to do a smaller game, right? Just to mix things up a little bit. So, all right, this is my 1,000 points of Mechanicum. So if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know I did a video about coming up with this list. So we're going to try that out today. We're also going to be using it for the campaign that my local group is running. We'll start. We've got a Ordinatus detachment or formation, starting with a Archmagos on foot with a couple of Tech Priest Auxilia, a Myrmidon Destructor detachment, and then 2 detachments of Thanatar with the Plasma Mortar and 1 detachment with the Solex Heavy Las. And then we've got a Tagmata formation, again with an Archmagos on foot, 1 Tech Priest Auxilia. We've got 2 groups of 6 Thalax and 1 group of 10 Tech Thrall Covenants, 2 units of Castellax, and then 2 detachments, of Arlatax. So the idea here behind the army is just trying to use these Thanatar as bases of fire, essentially, around the combat group pushing up to take the objective. And then the Castellax and the Arlatax are going to support them, provide some close assault and anti-infantry fire. And then the Thalax are going to be the main objective seizing parts of my army. So we don't have any anti-air, we don't have any infiltrate, so this is going to be very different from the army that I normally run. So it's going to be interesting to see how it performs. This is the first time I've played Mechanicum, first time I've seen them on the table. So we hope you stay tuned, and we'll come back to you after we finish deployment. All right, we've just finished deployment. Mechanicum on this side, and Solar Auxilia just across the way here. So I've got my Thanatar backed up with some Castellax and an Arlatax. also supported by some Thalax garrisoning this building, and then Tech Priest Auxilia with the Thanatar and then the Castellax. Moving down here to the center, pretty much the same composition of group. We've got Thalax, Arlatax, Castellax, and Thanatar, backed up by the Tech Priest Auxilia to give them that Battlesmith special rule. And then over here on the right flank, I have my Tech Thrall Covenant ready to move up into these buildings. We've got the objective just beyond them, and then the Ethon Heavy Sentinels in the distance. And then we're backed up by these Myrmidon Destructors who are also going to be looking to move into those buildings. And then the Thanatar looking to move up to the corner of that building there and try to get a good firing position in this open area. And then over here, got the Ethon Heavy Sentinels, Jeff's Vanquishers in the center, along with a detachment of infantry in the Dracosons.
Yep.
And these are just your las rifles, right, Jeff?
Las rifles, 2 las rifles, 2 flamers in each one.
Okay.
Because they have a capacity to hold 4 bases, right?
Yes.
4,
yeah,
so
correct. And then over here on your right, we've got your Basilisks and your Velatari, right?
Yep, with the Legate.
Great. And then waiting in the wings here, we've got a bunch more infantry and the Arva Sliders ready to pounce on some objectives.
Yep.
So, all right. So pretty simple, pretty easy today. We are going to do the first turn, and then we'll check back in with you after that. All right, so here we are at the end of movement, turn 1. You can see the Mechanicum is pretty much advanced across the board. I thought about going on march to try to get a more commanding position, but I was concerned about Jeff's Ogrins and infantry in those lighters, and I wanted to be able to still shoot. So I kind of went on advance rather than taking away my ability to maneuver and fire. So that's exactly what Jeff did. As you can see, we've got the Arvis right there on the objective with a bunch of Ogrins in the building here, and then in the forest over here. And then he's advanced his Vanquishers up the center. I think I made a mistake here with my Thanatars. I tried to move them out of line of sight, but I probably should have just pushed them up the center and tried to get some shots on the Vanquishers. But we'll see how that turns out. And then over here, we've got the Ethon Heavy Sentinels contesting the objective. I've got my Myrmidon Destructors and my Thanatars with the Solex Heavy Las here. And then, of course, I've got the worthless Tech Thrall Covenant holding down this building here. So I'm not sure how this is going to go. These Solex Heavy Las are probably wasted against those Sentinels. The Myrmidon Destructors might do a little bit more if they don't get wiped out. And then over here, it's kind of, there's not too much going on the left. So, Jeff, any thoughts?
No, yes, everything's going according to plan.
Okay, that's good.
Evil
good.
plans.
Okay, all right. We will check back in with you after turn 1 combat. So here we are at the end of combat, turn 1. So you can see pretty much across the front, we had pretty light exchange of fire, I think. Over here, the Myrmidons and the Sentinels exchange fire. I lost 3 of my Destructors, and Jeff lost, between the fire from the Myrmidons and the Thanatar, Jeff lost 4.
4 Sentinels and 4 Ogrins.
Yeah. And then...
Or 3 Ogrins, I mean.
Yeah.
Because there's 1 on top.
Yeah. I was just talking about the Sentinels over here, though.
So. Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, you're good. And then didn't really have too much to shoot at otherwise, so I think I probably would have been better off going on march during this turn and just playing too conservatively again. Over here, Jeff's Vanquishers took out 1 of my Thanatar and put a wound on another one. And over here, the Basilisks in the distance there were able to take out 1 more of the Thanatars in that detachment. So I was hoping to be able to destroy that building right there with the Ogren on top of it with my 2 Thanatar detachments. But Jeff rolled well for his saves, and I don't think it took a single wound. So we might try again next turn, try to take that objective down. I really don't like the idea of assaulting a bunch of Ogrins in a building. That sounds like suicide to me, but maybe that's what all of these automata are for. Jeff, your perspective on the turn?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, we will. Oh, somebody did request that we do a rolling tally of objectives and victory points. So, in case it isn't obvious, Jeff's got all 3 of the objectives locked down, and that gives him 11 victory points, and I have 0. So, we'll see what happens in the next turn. This is the end of movement, turn 2. Starting over here on the right, I marched my tech thralls up into the open, right across from the Ethon Heavy Sentinels to contest the objective. They are on first fire, as are my Myrmidon Destructors and Thanatars with the Sol-X Heavy Las. And then over here, we had some excitement with Jeff's Ogren charging out of the forest against my Thalax, who overwatched. They actually pack a lot of firepower, more than I was expecting. Almost 18 shots, and I was able to do enough casualties to
Killed 5.
Yeah,
You broke me.
to make them take the morale check. So,
Well, you have that question, right? You want to post it to maybe people.
oh yeah, thank you for the reminder. Yeah, so they're broken or they're on a fallback order, and I've charged them with my Arlatax and my Castellax. I don't know if there's any kind of condition. Jeff doesn't know either. We took a look through the rules fairly extensively. Didn't see if there's any kind of, like I know in Big Heresy there's sweeping, right? There's nothing that we can find like that where there's a penalty or some kind of consequence for a unit on a fallback order being charged. If you guys know of anything, let us know. I'll look more thoroughly after this game. But
What about the pin rule? Would it be something to do with the pin rule?
I don't think so. I'm not sure what you mean.
We're
by
just
pin.
going to play it as low. We decided to play it as locked in combat.
Yeah.
So we're just going to leave it there.
We're just going to have them fight, and we'll see what happens.
They may not be there anyway. So
yeah, I mean they're still pretty tough, but Jeff moved his Vanquishers up a little bit. I'm still trying to get my Thanatars out of line of sight, but they're still going to get shot at. Over here, I was able to charge my Arlatax into the structure, try to pin those Auburns there, and then just moving up everything else to try to take control of the objective. So we've got a couple fights.
Closing in on the 5 Ogrins. There's still 5 Ogrins in this building.
Yeah.
And I zipped my flyers back here. I mounted these guys in these. And we had another question we were trying to find as far as transport capacity. I had 4 bases and 4 flyers. Can I put a base in each one, or do I have to maximize the capacity per flyer? But I don't know. We'll look that up later. And then these guys move back here to get the Velatari in here maybe in the future turn to get up. Because I pretty much shot my nut, and we'll see what happens. I still got a lot of firepower on the table, or a decent amount, but he's closing in on me.
Yeah, well, we'll see. You got like you said, you got a lot of firepower, so I got to last a couple more turns before anything will happen. So, okay, well, that's our combat summary, or excuse, our movement summary for turn 2. So we'll do our combat, and we'll check in with you after that.
I got initiative.
All right, so this is the end of combat turn 2. Not too happy with how it went, I'm afraid. My tech thralls got wiped out by Jeff's Vanquishers. Pretty tough round of shooting. These guys didn't do too much, although they did
Keep going.
Make the Sentinels fall back. So that was productive in that sense. I'm really not sure how I feel about the Sol-X Heavy Las. Probably better against vehicles. I think they're losing their armor bane when used against the Sentinels, so that's not probably not a good positioning on my part. Over here in the center, fight didn't go my way with the Augrins. They are going to have to fall back here, which we need to do still. And then the Thanatars once again failed to destroy that building, so I'm not too happy about that. Just because that was almost 8 shots on 2s, and so those Augrins are still holed up in there controlling that objective. So I'm just going to have to push up and try to take it. Let's see, I'm not sure. Jeff, you moved your Dracosans up to the edge of the trees there, put a wound on my Castellax. You've got your infantry waiting to come up and reinforce. And then your Arviser back there in the back still waiting to pick up your Velatari. I think that was everything that happened, right? It's pretty short and sweet for this turn. Um, yeah. Anything I missed, Jeff?
Not really. We covered it.
So Jeff's still got all 3 of the objectives. That means he's got another 11 points. So I'm falling farther and farther behind here. So I need to make something happen quick. But we will see what happens in turn 3, and we'll check in with you after movement. All right, we are at the end of movement turn 3. So we are coming to the decisive point of the game, I think. Start over on the right here. I decided to march my guys again. Not sure if that was probably the right decision. I'm not sure. The Thanatar are so slow. They move 4 inches, so even on a march, they're only moving 8. So it is pretty painful getting them anywhere. But hopefully I'll be able to take that objective. Over here, I'm moving in the center, moving both of my remaining Thanatar detachments to try to shoot at these Leman Russ. And then the infantry moving up through the trees, the Thalax, trying to get on the objective. And then I have my Castellax and Arlatax are engaging the Ogrins there in the center. And then over here on the left, I move my Castellax and Thalax up here around the objective, trying to get a hold on that. Jeff moved his infantry up in the center, Vanquishers pushing forward, and then infantry in the Arvis moving up to contest the objective. The Ethon Sentinels did not rally, so they're going to fall back at the end of the turn. And the Basilisks are still on first fire. So I'm probably going to lose. Imagine they're going to shoot at the Thanatars, so we'll probably lose at least one of those. Anything I missed, Jeff?
I fumbled this and I gave them the wrong order, so I couldn't mount in the flyers. So, yeah, that's about pretty much. You've covered everything else.
Okay. All right. We're going to do our combat, and we'll check in with you after that. All right. This is the end of combat turn 3. We start over here on the right. Jeff moved his Arvis Lighters up. He's getting ready to drop off a bunch of infantry to retain hold of this objective. Like I said, in the movement phase, I tried to march my Myrmidons up here, but because these guys are in hover, they still exert tactical strength, so they're still able to keep the control of that objective. Over here in the center, the combat was tied here, so Jeff's Ogrins are sticking around, as are my Walkers. I do have enough infantry and Walkers within 3 inches of the objective. I was able to control it. And over here on the left, my Thanatar was able to finally put one more wound on the building, which brought it down and killed the Ogrins inside, which means I have enough tactical strength to control this objective on the left here as well, which gives me 7, and Jeff has 3 from his the objective on the right flank. So the score right now is 7-25 in Jeff's favor. So I'm going to need to do pretty well over the next 2 turns if I want to pull out a win. But not too much else, I don't think. Jeff, anything I missed?
Nope, got it.
So, okay, so we'll do movement for turn 4, and we'll check in with you after that. All right, this is the end of movement, turn 4. Over here on the right, still kind of got a face-off between the Arvis. Jeff dropped off his infantry, and I kind of moved my Thalax over from the center to try to counter that. Still not on the objective yet. Thanatar moved up, and the Myrmidons are still sitting on the objective. So Jeff's probably going to hold that this turn. Moving over here in the center, Thanatar are converging on the Leman Russ. Probably not enough firepower left there to really make much difference, but I was able to charge my Castellax into the side of one. So maybe that'll even the odds somewhat. And then my Arlatax and the Ogren are still locked in a death struggle. Over here, Jeff moved his las rifle Tercio up to the edge of the trees, so he's going to be firing probably onto the Castellax or these Thalax, and hopefully doing enough damage to knock me off the objective next turn. And I'm just kind of hunkering down, trying to maintain control of the objective for as long as I can. It's pretty winnowed down from the beginning of the game. Not too much on the table left for me. Anything I missed, Jeff?
Nope.
Okay. What's your plan for this turn?
Try to sweep some of your objectives so I can
Yeah.
get them back. Kind of figured I'd lose them late game, but I did. I made a kind of a tactical error over here, but it actually worked out better. I get a march order. I meant to get in these things, and then I realized that I had 9 bases, and this can only carry 8 because I attached my commander to that unit. So, but I ended up marching them into that building, which actually works out better. So I zipped these guys over here for backup, maybe some extra points to try to get that objective back in the last turn of the game. And yeah, just the first fire should help me out some. Maybe I can sweep your objective a little bit. This is going to be pretty tough. You got your assault off on me. So, but yeah, that's probably futile for me as well. Those little squishy infantry are going to die pretty easy. But well, I'll still hold that if I can kill that one guy. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, you've got a commanding lead from your tactics at the beginning, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, we'll figure out combat, and we'll check in with you after. This is the end of combat, turn 4. So starting over here on the right, combination of my Thalax and Thanatar and Myrmidons were able to wipe out Jeff's infantry and the Arvis. So I've got pretty solid control of that objective there. But moving over to the center, the engagement between the Ogren and the Arl attacks did not go well, nor between the Castellax and the Leman Russ. And so by moving my Thalax over to this objective, I've surrendered control of the center. So that was probably a poor move on my part. I probably could have kept them in the center. Jeff's Ogren, I think, needs a name or some kind of battle honor because he's done pretty good service.
Yeah, I know the model, so he might get something. He really held his own over there.
My detachment of Thanatar, which was here, was wiped out by Jeff's Leman Russ. Over here, some fire from the Basilisks, I think, took out the second Castellax over there. But the rest have held strong. My Thalax, Castellax, and Thanatar here are still hanging on by their fingernails. Infantry in the trees, Dracosans, probably going to move up with their friends, the Velatari over there, which I'm going to get a taste of my own medicine here probably this turn. So we'll see. I think Jeff's pretty much got it in the bag, but we're going to play one more turn just so you guys can see what happens and so we can see what happens. Any thoughts, Jeff?
No, it's good to see a game go to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're getting a feel for the game and starting to pick up pace.
I think 1,000-point game is a good point for this. I mean, you can get it done in a reasonable amount of time, and I like it. I like this level of game. Some of the bigger games can get cumbersome, but.
All right, we are going to finish off this turn, and we will check in with you after movement turn 5. All right, this is the end of movement turn 5. So starting over here on the right, pretty much cleared out this whole side of the table. My Myrmidon Destructors and the Thanatars moving in towards the center, trying to put some fire on these Leman Russ. Thalax moved back again. I think that was a big mistake on my part, moving them away last turn. I think that might have decided the game, actually. Leman Russ pushing towards the left flank. Thanatars confronting them. Jeff's infantry broke cover, moved out, tried to get on the objective. Same with the Velatari. I was able to do a little bit of overwatch fire with my Thalax. I think I did maybe 1 or 2 casualties. But they charged in, were able to get in contact with my Tech Priest Auxilia there, and then I counter moved with my Castellax. Arvis moved up in support, and that's about it. Not too much left on the table from when we started. Game is pretty much mathematically impossible for me to win at this point, but I think, like I said at the end of the last summary, we're just doing this to kind of see how things go. And just to finish up a 5-turn game, which Legions Imperialis is by standard. So we are going to do combat, and we'll check in with you after that. This is the end of combat turn 5 and the end of the game. As you can see, still pretty empty over here, moving my troops up here. Put some fire into the Leman Russ, took out a few of them. The Thalax, I think, actually did more damage than the Thanatars with the Sol-X Heavy Las. So I'm not sold on the Sol-X yet, but I may have misused them this game. So there's Jeff's Leman Russ controlling these 2 right objectives with my Thalax and the Tech Priest Auxilia there. We had a bit of a firefight here, as you can tell, in the center between the Thanatar and Leman Russ. And then Jeff's infantry charge. This is what we like to see as Solar Auxilia players, right? Like massed infantry moving into the open against fixed positions. It's good stuff. So Jeff's Velatari charged in, took out my Tech Priest. Castellax lost the fight, but because it has 2 wounds, it's sticking around still. Doesn't make a difference because Jeff's got plenty of line troops on that objective holding it. And that's really about it.
There's my VIP.
Yes. Yeah, the man of the match, right?
He gets
that
that
Auburn
award.
right there. Lasted the whole game. Very impressive. So the final score is 21-31. I think Jeff's early lead really paid off. So those Arvis, I don't know how you felt about it, Jeff, but I think that was a pretty successful tactic.
I like the Arvis.
Yeah.
A lot of people were putting them down, but I've seen people put them down. But if you use them a certain way, they seem to work pretty good. So.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I didn't have any anti-air, so that may have been part of it. But still, just bringing them in and being able to drop a bunch of infantry onto the objective, I think is pretty valuable.
It's my replacement for Infiltrate.
Yes. Yeah, so I think that's about it, guys. A pretty short game. I think it's fun. The Mechanicum has a very different dynamic, much slower. It is nice that they're a little bit more flexible as long as you keep them with the Tech Priests. You can still give them the full range of orders. It's nice to have the Thalax, which seem very capable infantry. Definitely will take a few more of them in lists that are higher than 1,000 points. The Myrmidon Destructors, I don't know. They kind of got damaged too significantly at the beginning of the game for me to really form a solid opinion of them. I do like, that they have a pretty strong weapon on them, and having that be on an infantry type detachment means you can put them in a building and then they can be a real thorn in your enemy's side. What do you think about the Mechanicum after playing against them for the first time, Jeff?
They're interesting. They're pretty resilient. A lot of things having more than 1 wound, and then that extra, what you call it, where he gets the other 5 up to keep
the Battlesmith.
Battlesmith. Man, I'd almost look at those transports. So maybe they can give you a little bit of speed to get you up there closer to the objectives when you need to.
Yeah, that's a good point. I sort of poo-pooed the Triaros, but maybe they're more useful.
It's a very interesting army. It's very interesting. I like it.
It's a very different flavor than we've been used to. So we'll definitely see them again on the channel. I'll probably try to build up a couple different variations. I'm going to do some Knights and Titans, and then of course I've got my Dark Mechanicum. That'll be coming too. So those will all be supplements to the main Mechanicum list. So what are you planning next for your Solar Auxilia, Jeff?
I mean, as far as points, increase in points, I don't know. I couldn't say right now.
Okay, all right. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of stuff that I bought a lot of stuff and put it together, so I'll add it. But I'm thinking I figured this list out. I think it works pretty good. So
yeah, it was fun to play against. I mean, it was a different dynamic from our usual games, which was nice to kind of mix it up a little bit. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and call it there, guys. Thanks for the game, Jeff. Really appreciate it.
Charlie.
And don't forget to check out our other battle reports, and give us your thoughts in the comments, and make sure you like and subscribe and all that stuff. And we'll see you in the next video.